Start up once again. Start up once again.
Here we go.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going to be in an endless loop if we ever allow ourselves to be picked up in the mic. But we do have audio now. So this is it. The mic. We do have audio now. Whoa. So this is it. And our audio sucks. It sounds like we're in a fishbowl. Yeah, we need mics.
What's your good side? What? What's your good side?
Probably this side. It doesn't matter though. Do you have a better side?
It depends on where. Flip my hair.
Flex. May I flex?
Matt, flex, please.
So yeah, the idea eventually is to maybe mount this thing up a little bit higher, and kind of like looking down at like our table that we would have like here. Okay. That way we don't look like we're so cut off. And the lighting will be better. We should actually experiment with that right now. Hey.
Yeah, lights, please.
Alright, where would this be best? What kind of light is it meant to be? Let's see.
Yeah, right in the middle. Might blast everything. Taking this turn.
Does that look? Oh, no, that looks horrible. Maybe off to the side. Maybe we need something over here. Maybe right in between.
Taking this chair. I think it's better than just the one light. Let's see if we do both.
Is it like too bright? Does this place look creepy? How would this look?
I feel like we're in the Matrix with like these versions of ourselves on the computer. Well, that's cool.
Alright. Yeah, so eventually I think we would get it like up here or something, and then kind of like looking down. And then we would have like our mics and stuff set up there.
Yeah, down is it's good.
And for now, I think everything's cool. Alright, let me grab another beer. And also, I don't know if we can. I don't think we can smoke on there. We'll probably get banned. So,
Really?
yeah. Can't do any like illicit drugs because it's not legalized nationally.
Oh, we gotta roll up.
You think
That's
so?
what it is, yeah. That's what it is. Rogan's never hit a pipe on his podcast.
Yes.
They could be smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
They live in California too, though.
It's true.
I cannot decide which side of my face. It should be like 5 minutes of me with my
Dude, that would actually be hilarious. Like, this stuff's probably all pretty asleep, and then I would just cut random shit of this, like you spitting in the chair.
Perfect.
Well, you know what might actually be better, dude? The lighting. They're in front of us, like, so they can't. That way the light is like radiating onto us.
Wait, you said do it in the bathroom? Dude, I legit, I do not know.
No, I was saying we could we could put the light like in front of us. I mean, it's gonna be kind of hard here, but like we could put it here because like when you do most, like if you're ever like modeling or something like that, they can't like there's always light shining on you because it's supposed to be like radiating on your skin and shit like that. Because like right now, I think we're picking up a lot of the fucking coldness of that.
That's true.
Just try it. Let's see what happens. Oops. Man, it just kind of looks the same either way, I think. Just because it's not really like a great lighting situation.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really would.
What is that noise, dude?
What's the audio sound like? Oh, it was off. What's the audio sound like? Okay. Oh, that's weird.
It's just I muted at our feed.
The very first time you record your voice is.
Hold on, I like an open profile rather than.
Is it centered? Okay. Two more in it. There we go. Cool.
Yeah, the very first time I heard my voice recording for my band when I was like 16, I was just astounded. That was like the very first time I had ever heard my voice.
Yeah. Ever. Dude, it's shocking. Like there are times where previously I thought I could actually sing, you know, and so I would like be in the car recording on the phone's like recording feature, and then I play it back to myself, and yeah, I'm never pleased with how my voice sounds. It's always just kind of really young sounding, considering my age too. I sound like a teenager. And that sucks. I wish I was one of those dudes who was like had like this soothing voice, like a deep voice. There's a dude who comes on Thursday nights. His voice isn't really deep. His name's Dick Fairley. He does like the Thursday night jazz excursion. Have you ever heard that guy on NPR?
Oh, on NPR.
Yeah.
No.
So he goes on NPR at like Thursday nights, and his voice, he's got like, he talks like this. He's got a very deep, you know, buttery smooth voice, and it's like super soothing and shit like that. And if you like play it loud enough in your car, it feels I don't know, sort of like falling asleep to this guy's voice. I don't have that. I have. Hey, what's up, dude? Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like my face from the side.
I know. I kind of don't like my face on
a fan.
camera
I think
in general.
dead on works.
Yeah.
A little better.
You can do that.
Should we read a poem?
Yeah, let's open with that. Hey, Caleb would like to read the
This is a-
poem.
This is a poem I wrote.
How long ago was this written?
I don't know. I was just going through some stuff from my laptop.
Is it sad? All of the stuff that I used to write when I go back and like read it now is just incredibly sad. And I can't relate to my old self. Which I guess could be a good thing. But like sometimes like I don't know. What was I going through at that time that was like evoking that sort of emotion?
Yeah, it's almost like bringing up a part of yourself that you've suppressed, even though that was like a period of time in your life. In our finite like 70 plus years, we just like neglect an entire year of our life that was crucial at the time and like just became a moment of disappointment for us, even though the conglomeration of everything that we are now was because of that year of life. I've even thought about that a lot. I wanted to mention that to Dan today at work, just about how like 2017 for me will include like the very integral part that was Red Point.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Even if it was just like 6 months or 3 months or 12 months or whatever, that'll be like, 6 months of my life that I spent in this place with that crazy.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's crazy how much this unassuming dude. Like I never would have thought that my relationship with Dan would be like where it is today. Just because typically the people I've hung out with and like spoken to in the past have not been like Dan. He's very volatile, and kind of unpredictable, but at the same time like super gentle and like very, very, very generous. Like he's got a lot of ability to help take care of people, and he just wants to do that. Genuinely. But like, yeah, I never would have thought that my experience working at a cafe, which was initially meant just to kind of like bide the time until I could find something else, was going to have like this sort of impact on me. If I had ever thought that, I don't know, man. Like if you had told me that back then,
Yeah.
I would have been like, no, it's a fucking cafe. Like,
Yeah, no. But yeah, my prediction was to be there for like a month.
Yeah, see, I was like, dude, like 3 months, and then I'm gonna find something for sure.
Yeah.
And then, it turned into
It'd be like 90 days of like sobriety from the corporate demanding environment that like we had both been in for a long time, and it's just like a sabbatical.
Yeah.
In a way. But it became
I don't know. Part of me thinks that it's still kind of like almost like a. I wouldn't call it a project, but part of me treats it that way now. Like I genuinely want to give back and like try to help Dan, because like he's definitely helped me through some like turbulent months, to say the least. So, despite all of his stuff that he's got to deal with, like he's still a good dude at the end of it, and I think I've learned a lot in this experience, because working with somebody in like the small business environment has been a lot different from like the other sort of service jobs that I had in the past. Like my first job was Subway, and it was way different than this. Ultimately, it's the same type of job. Like we're delivering food in a timely manner to a particular demographic. demographic of customer. But the approach is so much differently handled with being a small business because you're in charge of literally everything. You know, you're not subscribed to a fucking franchise where you're going to be supported by their distributors and shit like that. You kind of have to take care of everything yourself. And with Dan's vision and mission being as bold as it is, like, okay, we're going to do this in a healthy way. We're going to bring nutrient-dense shit to people. That poses new challenges, especially. And I think that we've run into a lot of that. And I think you and I have both figured out ways to negate some of the extra costs incurred with that. And also how to handle presence, just like locally and also like online. Because in that conversation that we were having with Dan and Melody, I was like, man, like we actually kind of understand social media to a degree. Like we know what's good and we know what should be
on this like kind of grassroots level too. So rather than navigating social media and like marketing presence on a statewide scale or on the scale that like a franchise or a corporation would look at it, this is like we want to be approachable and relevant to the very like niche demographic that we've targeted within the area. So like that being like the health industry and that being just people that are like active in the local area. So being able to like to optimize those sort of like just navigating the local waters rather than navigating on like this global scale to begin with.
Yeah.
But with the intent of like becoming global, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like if this sort of like model that Dan's created at some point does succeed. And I think it could with like some tweaking, you know, obviously some spending tweaks here and there, and maybe finding more reliable suppliers who can deliver to you at a more consistently priced rate. I think that would definitely just shave off a lot of shit. But seeing it scale to like a national model would be interesting because you'd be presented with the challenges of like mass distribution of meat, you know, and Calicrate is not a farm that could provide.
Yeah, that would be an immediate issue that we would have. Would be like, we've created these like quote unquote sustainable sources, but sustainable only means like sustainable at, you know, $2,000 a day. And that cutoff becomes like, okay, now where do we source our proteins from, or where do we source our eggs from?
Yeah.
Can we still find suppliers that like hold the same sort of values that our suppliers do now, but on a scale with like 3 or 4 locations?
Yeah.
I think it immediately becomes an issue, and people probably just give in for the most part to the first source that approaches them with a low price that seems like relatively interested in like giving the animals and giving the workers compensation and doing everything what's the word? Not sustainably, but just like with a moral compass.
Oh, like ethically?
Yeah,
like having
doing those things
to it. Yeah, definitely. I think that's the choice that a lot of people are left with. And unfortunately, if you look into it a little bit more, there's really not a whole lot of regulation on like the marketing tactics of that, you know. So a lot of the green shit that's in stores and everything is, or even distributors are packaged as this organic source, you know, and they're really not. So I think that's another challenge that you probably immediately hit with if you tried to get to that level, which is then where you kind of have to present the question of, well, how big do you want it to scale?
Yeah.
I mean, because he says, oh, you know, multi-billion, but I know he's just kind of like fucking around a little bit at that point. Like, you know, he's not serious, but you know, he does say that he wants it to be that at some point, and you know, I think he's kind of got like this delusion grandeur where it's like, I could be Steve Jobs. Well, yeah, but you're not inventing like a device that's going to change how people interact with the rest of the world forever.
you know, you're serving nutritious food that's sourced ethically.
Yeah, yeah.
And shit.
It's
not-
interesting to pose the question too, like, at what point? Right now, we're affecting people on a very personal level. Like we and the owner included are interacting with customers personally from day to day. But can we have that same effect on them when you and I aren't in the cafe, or when Dan's not in the cafe?
Yeah.
Can we still be the cleanest meal of the day for those people? And will they still be drawn in the same way when this becomes like a franchise that people know about?
Yeah.
I feel like people are already slightly turned off by the interior just because they think that it's like a location that's just been opened up by like another franchise owner.
So you think people are turned off by that?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
I think when they see like this sort of cookie cutter interior design that looks like it could be replicated over and over again, they're immediately turned off by that.
Okay.
Which is fair because currently there aren't a ton of franchises that we know by name that actually do things ethically and sustainably and treat their employees right. Like there's very few good examples of that.
Yeah. Agreed.
The examples we have like go down in flames eventually with some sort of bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's always the case. And I think another way to even look at that is to question how the direction that the next generation is looking, right? Like our generation and I think your generation are probably the first ones to really look at what is in our food, you know, and to be conscious of that and like, hey, you know, we don't need all of these extra bullshit and additives and preservatives and all this other stuff that's like proven to be cancer causing and various other effects. But if you just look at the way we're shopping, like we're tending toward that local source anyway, right? Like we're trying to like. There's also a strong sense, and this is probably, a little bit unrelated, but there's also a strong sense of like community I've noticed with our generations and like building that back up, and kind of avoiding the shopping mall sort of like concept. You know, we're all going to like artisan coffee houses, if you can call some of them that, but like that's our thing. We go to that. We go to the unique cafes. We like the mom and pop shops, and we like supporting that stuff because it's local. We know who those people are, and I think we're like somewhere in between here and like the early 1900s when that was still like a thing. Like that got lost, you know. I think probably somewhere in the 80s, you know, it was like when all these chains were just huge.
Somewhere around McDonald's, really, like at the time, people were excited to see a renewable model like McDonald's, a place where they could like reliably go to and get the same product every single time. Like that was so novel when it first came out. Now you can go and get the same product, but the product has been like just constantly diminished in value, and like the baseline for starting these companies has been just exponentially increasing profit margin somehow. So like however they can start out and sell the cheapest French fry or like the cheapest fucking like glucose baguette, whatever.
Yeah. And when you break these things down, like to their nutritional value, they're basically just empty calories. Like everything in them is just empty. There's no real fucking sustenance there.
What I wonder too is, you can create a community organically, like we have, or like the Wild Goose has, or Loyal Coffee, or these independent cafes start and organically blossom this community. Is there a model where we can bring Cafe Red Point into a new town and have that new Cafe Red Point not only model like the product, but also model the initial community, or does it have to again happen organically? So like we put one in like Joliet, Illinois tomorrow. the community in Joliet, Illinois is going to be completely different. So even if they go in and they like the product in the same way, they're going to be more interested in like, hunting or not even necessarily hunting. I don't know. Based on whatever community it is, it's not going to be like climbing and running. It's going to be like banking and selling cars. That's what that like community enjoys doing.
I can totally see that. I understand what you're saying completely.
Or we're like the people that everyone in the community aspires to be is not like an Olympic athlete. It's Chignoli cars, Chignoli Auto. It's like selling the most cars.
Well, and I think even the model would be hard to replicate throughout various states because of the availability of locally sourced goods in general, right? Like, we're lucky enough to live in Colorado where agriculture and livestock are kind of like in abundance. Like, that's what people do out here. There's a lot of ranches. But, I mean, you were to take that to fucking, like, downtown LA, there's no farms there.
No, good luck.
Good luck. You're not going to fucking get apples from, the Happy Apple Farm out in Gorge area, fucking Canyon City. You're not going to get, like, locally sourced shit is the point.
No, you're not going to get a local skirt steak for $4.99 wholesale.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to think about that in translating that to other locations outside of Colorado in general. I think part of the reason why it works in Colorado is due to the name and the nature of the state where climbing is in abundance. I mean, Colorado is known for climbing, not specifically, but it's one of the things that people tend to do here. So having a Cafe Red Point makes sense, and you're able to do all the local sourcing and ethically sourced shit that you want. It's just, I think urban areas, it would never really work. I mean, Denver's probably an exception, right? Because Denver's like this half-breed sort of, metropolis. It's huge, but it still exists in Colorado where, I don't know, like the local movement is a thing, I wonder where else in the country that is kind of the trend.
I guess that would be the goal would be to target places like that.
Yeah,
I just wonder, like,
West Coast is probably similar to that, based off of like what I've heard from some of my friends who live out there.
I sort of just have this like environmental bias to where I go in and see a place that looks like it has just been like copied and pasted elsewhere, and I think like this is not genuine or sincere in any way.
Yeah,
and it may not be genuine or sincere intended for the community that it ended up in, but the very first location, or at least the concept itself, was genuine and sincere. And if the sincerity in this case is just serving like a nutrient-dense product, then if that can be conveyed through every location, no matter where the location is, even if it's not Colorado, even if it's like somewhere in Alabama where they could give a fuck about like ethically and sustainably sourced foods or nutrient-dense foods.
I think
that's a target Alabama specifically. But if whoever's running that cafe or whoever is working like at that time, every employee could convey the intention that was initially set up, then that's a model that can be repeated.
Yeah,
and not disrespected in the community.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the direction that a lot of businesses that are moving to a national level are taking, is having like very, very simple missions. And what you're saying is to break the mission down to its like simplest form, which is to serve nutrient dense foods. So that is working, or that is workable in other areas throughout the country. I would like to see where that would be most successful, like where you would have access to that.
There's just so much bullshit within like the health and wellness industry that it's hard for me to trust anyone saying like this is nutrient dense food.
Yeah.
Even if I know for
that's a good point.
The fact that like certain foods are nutrient dense, I don't know. I would question it immediately if a red point popped up in my hometown. Who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. But you've got your blackboard with all the local suppliers written on it.
True.
Hey,
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
this from an Amish
Yeah.
farm.
We got this from Lori at Walmart. Lori at Walmart is local. She has a family. She needs to support her family. So we supported her by buying these herbs from your local Walmart. Thank you, Lori. I don't know if that would go over well in most Colorado cities.
Yeah, probably not.
We support King Supers. Where do you think you are?
Supers. Where the fuck do you think
It's
you
like
are?
way better than Walmart.
I'm a Kroger shopper.
The truth of the is much better. Dude, they seem sad as fucking King Supers most of the time.
Dude, yeah. There's this guy, dude. This was the first time I ever did this too. Like, I normally do not complain about people in service, but there was this guy who worked down in the deli at this fucking Supers down here. Dude, this fucker was the most miserable fuck ever, dude. This guy was a dildo to the utmost degree. Anna could attest to this. Like, we would go in there, and this guy would, like, make eye contact with you, and then continue doing, like, what he was doing, and, like, not say anything, like, oh, we'll be right there, blah, blah, blah. And there was this one night where he was, like, particularly fucking, like, on point, and, like, basically, like, fucking threw the meat up on the counter at us and all kinds of other stuff. So I had to complain. I was like, all right, you know, this is my whitest moment ever. There is an employee. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, man, they are sad in there. And
Yeah.
I think the lighting has to do with that. Fluorescent lighting. Just kidding. I think it's probably the fact that all of them are making absolute ass.
Yeah.
And don't have benefits.
Yeah, probably.
And have to deal with some dildo ass dude who's a supervisor who's, you know, on a power trip. That's usually the case in a lot of those places.
What they need is one very desirable man and one very desirable woman on each shift
To fuck.
just sure just to inspire them to be better.
What do you mean? Because very desirable man.
Because when you're working and you have nothing to inspire you to be better, you're just stuck in this like hole. You're working at the deli at King Supers. What's gonna make you try to be like a more valued member of society? A desirable person in the vicinity that you think you could have like this very slight possibility of ever ending up with.
So define desirable then.
You want to fuck them.
So you're implanting fucking like attractive
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a person either. Like, you could just be a robot in the future. It could be this perfect robot that always flirts with you just enough to let you know that you have a chance, but you have to be better for them.
What? So you have to improve yourself in
Yeah.
order to fuck the robot?
Yeah. You
Wait,
have to,
so
you have to
alright.
be better. You have to be better. Okay,
Does the robot ever actually like let you fuck it?
that's a good question. If the robot did eventually let you get that Christian Christmas, I mean, how much more willing? Say it were relevant to the job itself too. So if you performed the job more efficiently than your other coworkers, then you got to fuck the robot that month.
Oh god, this would never work.
Why not?
Because this is like an HR violation. Like,
No, it's not a
what
real
if some asshole gets a girlfriend rough?
It's not a real person. It's
So
a bot. It's an AI bot.
It's the intent though. Like, what if some dickhead like rapes the robot? Right? The robot's like, no,
It's
you haven't met my standard yet.
Exactly.
You have to get 10 thank you notes from customers before you can get fellatio from the robot.
Right. So what if fucking Tommy in the deli? And that's not the guy's name down there. Just FYI.
Oh, it's
But
tiny.
then,
Don't trust the Tommy.
what if the Tommy from the deli is like, "Hey, I'm on number 8,"
Mhm.
and the robot's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, 2 more."
2 more.
But he's like, "No, now," and then bends the robot over, and
You're fired. You're fucking fired. You can't. You can't fuck the pleasure bot before your time.
before the 10
Yeah.
customer recommendations. Okay, all right, well, fair enough. I guess that works.
Wouldn't that improve morale and just
Maybe in men.
overall production?
I think men could be motivated by sex. I don't think women. Really
Yeah, that's just saying.
care.
How much more do you think women would be motivated by having like a desirable bot within the workplace?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, what is it like for dudes? All of our desires are like physically met. You put a robot in there with a certain bust size and shit, and dudes will go ape shit for it. But women, I don't know if there's like a particular set dude with certain metrics that adheres to their standard.
I feel like women would be like, I don't care.
You think so?
That's how they'd win over the robot. They'd be like, I don't care. The robot would be like, what? Why don't you care?
All right, here's a deal. 8 slips.
Okay, I'll lower it to 3. Just 3. 3 good reviews, and please look at it.
What do I gotta do to get a big site? Okay. Already the most sexist podcast ever. Discussing the rape of robots?
I don't think they would immediately. I'm not sure immediately women would like posture and start to like try to improve themselves in the workplace in the same way that men probably would, just with that like slight possibility that they could like finger pop the robot after work.
Finger pop, no. No. That's awful. Man, that's a strange theory, though. I think a select group of, smaller sample size of people, like maybe 50 men and 50 women,
Yeah.
subject themselves to maybe 90 days of this type of testing where they're isolated.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like, would isolation be the best
Yeah, put
method
him on an
there?
island.
You think so? God, dude, somebody's getting murdered. I think at that
Yeah,
point.
no, you can't put anyone on an island without them fucking turning into savages.
Yeah, so I don't know. Probably just have them treated as though they were on like a jury. So everything that happens at work is left to work. But small set of people, and have them, achieve based off of a sexual positive sexual affirmation,
Yeah.
and then see what happens. I strongly think that men would become more productive,
I think so too.
but at the same time, that poor robot
What if it's not a robot? What if it's a
human being.
person? What if it's a person? What if it's a person that they? No, that's an ethical issue. We can't even. You couldn't have a person in place that knows that is their person.
It was entirely there. Ultimately, he's gonna have to fuck all these people.
just to
No,
inspire increased production.
that would never work. It would have to be a robot if that situation were to ever exist.
Okay, but
And even then, people would be like, okay, well, how intelligent is the robot? Does it know what's happening to it? Is it able? And this is where you come into consent. Is an artificial intelligence able to offer consent?
nope, just holes.
Then you can't fuck it.
Just offering holes.
Because if it's not consenting, then that would be rape. And if it can't honestly consent,
Ooh, with the really? What? I guess if it's uploaded, if it's a conscious creature, What if it's not conscious though? Do you still have to consent?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's not conscious, then you should just leave it alone. Because probably
You should, because it's just a sex doll at that point, and you're being weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, yeah, the sex doll thing is weird, but
That's essentially what it is, though. It's a sex doll for the purpose of inspiration.
yeah. Did you hear about the fucking things in China? They're like these pillars, like these small pillars that like simulate a vaginal experience. Basically, you can fuck it, and
It's a pillar?
yeah, Jamie, we need somebody to pull this up. We need somebody online right now to pull this up.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, it's basically like a machine that you like stick your dick in, and it takes care of things for you. Yeah, look at that entrance. Very, very interesting.
Huh.
I don't know how it sanitizes itself.
Is it better than, like, what are they called? Lights? Fleshlights?
Fleshlight? I don't know. Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Have you ever sat in like a massage chair?
Mm.
It's probably a similar experience, but for your penis.
Right around your shaft.
Yeah, just around the old yeah, those exist though, and I think those were developed as a sort of like anti-rape measure, if I'm not mistaken. You know, like more dudes just kind of getting their rocks off.
Good.
Don't have these like weird primal instincts to like rape a chick, which is a totally other huge discussion that probably shouldn't happen.
Yeah, go ahead and put that on college campuses, just in the bathroom, where people can just like walk in,
Yeah.
get their rocks off in this little Chinese pillar,
Chinese pillar.
go back to their friend's dorm room, and just put that pill back in their pocket.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
that's me.
this seems wrong.
Yeah.
Plus, I already nutted like twice, so who cares?
that pillar guy finna bus.
The pillar just fucking brought a whole new moral compass.
Yeah, dude. Fucking. I mean, at that point, you can do whatever you want because it's an inanimate object, you know, that's just simulating an experience. However, it's not curing or removing the desire to fuck things, right? So
Sure.
it's still there. You're just inanimmately obliged.
For 30 minutes.
I don't even think it would take 3 minutes.
For them to be down again?
Yeah, nah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, maybe to the point of violence.
Yeah.
It takes 30 minutes. You get a 30-minute window.
Yeah, I wonder if it actually does have any sort of impact, though. Like, if the desire is just not there because you're satisfied, you know?
Yeah.
That's a strange mechanic of society, then. Where it's just like, oh, yeah, we can't fix this in men, so let's just create machines that allow men to subside there.
Yeah. This episode was brought to you by Fleshlight.
Yeah. Dude, funny story about that. My friends gifted me, I think it was like on my 20th birthday or something like that. My friends gifted me a fake mouth. That
Like a Fleshlight fake mouth?
Yeah, it was like a gelatin mouth.
Whoa.
From a particular porn star. And
Which one star?
I don't know if you would know her. She's older. Like my generation. Her name is Tara Patrick.
Nope.
No. Thought so. She's I don't know. Look up some of her stuff.
I'll look it up. I'll check it out.
Yeah, she's older. So they give me this thing, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I had never used it either. So I just threw it into my top drawer and put a bunch of socks over it and just kind of forgot about it for a while. And at that point, I was kind of doing my own laundry and shit on a regular basis. But every once in a while, my mom would decide to do my laundry. And so this one day, I was at work, and I get this text from my mom on my phone, and she was just like, "What the fuck is in your top drawer?" And she texts me this really bad picture of it, because back then it was flip phones and the camera quality was really shitty. And I was like, "Oh god, she found the mouth. She found this fucking mouth." Yeah. And I was like, that was a birthday present from the guys. And she's like, why do you have a fucking fake mouth in your top drawer? It was like, because I planned on having sex with it at some point. And now I won't ever.
Oh, yeah, now that you know about it.
Yeah, no, I immediately
This mouth is ruined.
Said mouth.
His mouth is ruined.
Yeah. But, yeah, sorry, Tara Patrick, if you're out there. Never got to experience your mouth.
Damn, you didn't?
No, I
No.
It was, luckily for me, it was unopened. So, like, when I convinced her, I was like, yeah, I haven't, like, put my dick in it or anything. She was like, okay. Yeah, it's still sealed up.
Okay, that's better. You're still holy, my young
I
son.
was like, yeah, it was just a gift. I
So
was
holy.
just super embarrassed. I don't know what to do with it. I don't want you to find it in the trash. And she was, like, surprisingly cool with that.
Dang.
You know? It was weird. Other things she was not so pleased with.
Did you ever find condoms?
No,
No.
she never did. Partly because I really didn't get laid too much at the
At home.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always like out. First girlfriend was like always either in the car or like at her place or something. Yeah. I mean, in another place.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
We got caught one time. It was weird. This guy, I parked on the street and like this guy came up and like on the window and shit like that. I was just like, oh god. He was like, hey, you can't fucking do this anymore. Cause like we had,
No.
yeah, because we had like gone there a couple other times. It was like super particularly
Shit.
dark street. Yeah,
Shit.
it's weird.
One time-
Motherfuckers are always out here. I was like, oh shit, yeah, sorry.
Mm. Damn. That's nasty.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. That was like one of the most embarrassing things.
My buddy, after high school prom, we were at this like party, and he was like, "Hey, can I borrow your keys?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "I'm gonna go to the store or something real quick." He takes his girl, and gets in my car, and busts in my back seat,
Oh no.
and then comes back like an hour later with like the biggest grin on his face. I'm like, "Hey man, like, where'd you guys go?" He was just like, "You know, he's like went around the block or something." And I was like, "What did you do in my car?"
Man, that's some disrespect right there.
Yeah, the high school self will lay it down anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. It does not care.
It does not care.
Yeah, it does not care. I remember some of the shit that my friends would do. Like one of my buddies from back then, like filmed like kissing himself during this shit. It was so fucking weird, man. It was so weird because like when he filmed it, it was like in the weird like night vision, like I don't know, night vision view.
What? How do you do it?
It was like, so it was from behind, and it was basically just like two asses like bumping, or
Cell phone camera?
no, it was like a handheld. But back then, handhelds weren't like super small or
No, it
like,
was like you got both hands on that
yeah, yeah, you had some bulk to it, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it wasn't a
just, like,
GoPro. It wasn't steady.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Bouncing.
Yeah, exactly. There was no like steady hand technology and this shit like that. It was like bouncing all over the place. Poor quality, just awful. And then again, like, you know, to on the other hand, like I don't even understand why he would like want to show us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I had no desire to ever incorporate any sort of experience like that with my friends,
Mm-mm.
you know, like at any point in time.
No, man, I believe you had sex with her because you nasty and she nasty,
Yeah.
and it makes sense. That's
Yeah.
what happens.
Cool. It's fine. Yeah, you had sex with
For
her.
sure. You guys hang out every day, so like I just assumed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see you guys.
Did not have to see any of that.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, I did not understand it. It was like this weird. I think it was almost like a fetish for him.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, oh, yeah, I took this shit. And
Even worse is if you have a buddy who shows you something like that, and you're like, "Oh, your girlfriend's hot."
that would,
You're like,
that
"Yo,
was-
that girl is super fine." Then it just poses this whole like, okay, like, fucking, how into my girlfriend are you?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll stop showing you these if you're gonna react like that every time.
Seriously. Yeah.
It's crossing some barriers.
Yeah, it is. I think that it's.
I wonder how often that happens now. That was kind of a rarity when we were in high school. That someone would, I don't know. Did that happen at all when you were in high school?
What's that?
Where people would film themselves having sex with someone else?
Honestly, he was the only dude I knew of who did that. Most people I talked to were very, very kind of like conservative with their.
You didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, it wasn't really offered up all that much.
Mhm.
You know, it was like when you got really, really close to somebody, then it was kind of like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
we did this and stuff. Like, because I had a few friends who were. There's this girl who was in band, who was a friend of mine, who had like this older boyfriend who like everybody speculated all the time, like, oh, they're fucking and stuff like that. And then after a while, yeah, she's like, you know, she eventually told me that they had and everything. But it was always in situations like that. It's never just like, oh yeah. I mean, I guess there were a few people who were known for kind of like sleeping around, but even in those situations, there wasn't really much offered up in terms of, you know, specifics, like, oh yeah, they did it here, they filmed, or, you know, so-and-so got this on tape.
It's so casual now, I feel like.
Yeah, it's way
I feel
different.
like I was showing videos like that all the time.
I think it's
where
just
it
the
was like-
accessibility of
like,
cameras,
Yeah.
right? Phones and
Exactly.
cameras, you know, like it's just in everybody's hands now. So I don't think that it was anything different in our schools. I think people probably still would have done that,
Yeah.
you know, growing up. It's just it wasn't as available. 'Cause
I love Tony Hinchcliffe has a bit about how like 20 years ago, if you wanted to send or give someone a picture of your dick, you had to take a picture
I heard this.
and then go and
Get it developed.
and get it developed.
Yes.
And
Somebody
then you had to put it in your pocket and you had to bring it to someone else
Yeah, dude.
and give it to them.
Yeah.
This
Now
picture
there's
of my
this,
dick.
this whole
And
like
it's just like
anonymous
Snapchat.
yeah transaction that's just like not involved at all. You
No.
know? It's crazy.
No,
it's
it's
a
just-
way different experience.
It's just there and gone. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
Which maybe it's progression because like your dick's not that special anyway.
Yeah, that's what I
Where you got to take a picture of it and bring it
Yeah.
to someone.
There you go.
It's more just like a 3-second.
Here's my penis.
Like, what the fucking do with it what you will.
Hey, all right, honest question. Have you ever sent a dick pic?
No,
Thank God.
no, I've never sent
I
a dick
would-
pic either.
I have
Never.
not either. I've never. I've
No.
never even taken a dick pic.
No, me neither.
I have no desire to do it.
Well,
Plus,
no.
no, you taking one.
Only out of like my own
Yes.
curiosity of like how well I could execute
Okay.
taking a dick pic, and if it would be, you know, you can like go up to other pictures online and
Yeah.
like compare. I want to know.
So, did you do that?
Yeah, but it never went anywhere.
Sure, but did you compare with the other pics online? With your own little PP pic?
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
did?
sure,
How did
sure.
you, in your own opinion, how did you stack up?
I stack up. I mean, I could send you a dick pic.
No, I-
confidently.
I am fine with just the old eggplant emoji.
Talking directly into the camera.
Look at that. Look at this creep ass, dude. I will send you a dick pic.
Or here's some. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Be right back.
All right. No worries. Oh, the stream. All right, I am. I'll be right back. We're gonna wear. We need an overlay for this, so remember that overlay here for moments where people have to take pee breaks and shit. So if we're going to So, what are we at? Can you stream in 720? Is that possible? Is that possible? Is that possible?
Yeah, they just packed this thing with alcohol and terrible spices. It's an 8% ABV. Sound not on.
No, it's on. I just have it muted because it'll loop like indefinitely if the mic picks up any of the audio. Should we like make this public? All right, so our elapsed time is 1 hour and 10.
Oh, really? So you probably got
Probably a solid like 45 minutes of
yeah.
decent discussion in there.
Yeah, dude, we could do this.
Yeah, man, this is super easy. I think us making the changes to the room and everything too, and like setting it up to
Yeah,
make it
man.
comfortable
Just
will be,
like taking,
will be good.
yeah, kind of showing that we're taking it seriously too,
Mm-hmm.
with some shit like that.
Yeah. Why can't I enable that? Dashboard.